Hey, welcome to another episode of Monday Mentor. This is episode number 7, and I'm Noah. Hey, I just wanted to give you guys some encouragement today, and I'm going to be talking about how to get out of emotional debt. What does that actually mean? Well, I believe that we are all hoarders of emotional debt, and there's, I should say, of emotions, of emotional traumas, of emotional wounds, stuff that has happened to us. And we've just, as we grow older, we're just acquiring and we're building more and more. It's kind of like we're going camping with our living room furniture. You wouldn't do that, but that's kind of how we act in life, is we're bringing things into our lives and carrying things into our lives that are totally unnecessary, but they inhibit us from living optimally. So here's a couple of the things that I have realized and a couple of things that I do. One thing that I realized from my mentor is he told me, listen, an emotional wound festers, whereas a actual physical wound heals. So you cut your finger, it heals. But an emotional wound, you hold on to it. If it's not dealt with, it festers and it gets worse and it gets worse and it gets more toxic. And over time, it starts to spread. Into other areas of our life. It can actually take on a physical manifestation of it impairing you. That could be a trauma that happened to you, an emotional trauma, a physical trauma, literally things that have happened to us in our past. So I'm writing my new book, Fear Hunters, and it's actually helping people dismantle their fears and their shame that keep them immobilized from the life that they were intended to live. So I am very passionate about that subject. I was able to get a lot of freedom. I want to help as many people get into that freedom as much as possible, as soon as possible. The second thing that I want you to think about is we can hoard our wounds that immobilize us. So imagine, you've seen that crazy show, Hoarders, and, they say something like trapped alive or whatever, or buried alive. But even though that's a physical idea of it, our closets, our life, our garage, our attic, we treat our body and our lives the same way that we do our cars and those spaces of our lives. It's unnecessary clutter that takes up what I call the random access memory that we have in our brain and in our life, the stuff that we tweak on. And even so much that when we don't deal with them, when we get so overwhelmed that we have just so many on our mind that we've hoarded over the years, that we just get overwhelmed and we find ourselves numbing ourselves to death, just trying to buy time and just tune out. And so I understand where you're at. I feel that. I relate to that. But I had to start thinking about the third thing, and that's the most hopeful thing. That if we work on the tough stuff, we have room for the good stuff. Imagine your life as a thermometer, and if you're maxed out at work, if you're maxed out at parenting, if you're maxed out in your marriage, if you're maxed out where you just feel like you have no margin for anything, half of the time we've built that roller coaster. And listen to this. We have built that roller coaster as a false identity to keep us from looking at what really needs to be worked on. I personally took my life in the way of being as busy as possible, performing as much as I possibly could, to the point where I literally got burnout. I had been living a false identity to numb myself from stuff that I had gone through, painful, hurtful things that went sideways, things where I failed, and I wanted to numb myself and just tune out as much as I could because I just couldn't deal with it. But the moment I started to really look, and I want to encourage you guys to do this, find a mentor, find somebody that you can sit down. Maybe that's somebody that's at your church. Maybe that's doing life with somebody. Take a moment and pause and just say, you know what? I don't have it together. I'm not perfect. I'm not fixed, but I'm going to let go because I'm sick and tired of it. I live by a verse, and that is, Jesus came so that I would have a life and have a life abundantly. I do not want to go through life living as a victim and just getting through. I want to go through life and I want to live life abundantly, not just then, but I want to live life abundantly now. I want to do life with those that are doing life on purpose and people that are stoked on it. And I want you to feel that same. I want you to be able to have the capacity to do it. So back to that thermometer. You're maxed out. That thing is redlined all the way to the top. You have zero room for anything else. We have no time on our dreams. We're not even living the life that we'd like to live. But I do want to tell you this. If you can start removing and literally imagine like a big old dumpster come into your life and you're starting to work on the tough stuff so that you can make room for the good stuff, think about what that's going to do for what you're going to have available to yourself. You're going to love on yourself. You're going to have compassion upon yourself. Because if you can't love yourself, you're not going to be able to do that for anybody. Your spouse, your kids, your friends, your platform, the people you work with, you're going to have no capacity. So I want to encourage you to think about that. Bring that thermometer down, man. Start clearing out the clutter. And the way that happens is sitting down, leaving a comment, talking with somebody that you're safe with, doing life with a friend, getting honest, and just dismantling that stuff. But you got to feel safe with somebody. If you don't feel safe with somebody, find a person that has what it is you want and follow them. Find a person that has what you want and follow them and go after it. I hope that helps you guys this week. I'll see you guys next week. This is Monday Mentor. I'm Noah. Thanks for being here. Leave a comment down below. I'm glad that you're here. Thanks.